Hi, my name is Ross Batzer, and I'm a senior economist at the Federal Housing Finance Agency. We've recently released a working paper about what people do if they get a check in the mail. This paper is useful because it shows how mortgage debt affects what households do with the check, and I'll explain how this paper can give us insights into the transmission of macroeconomic policy. Cash transfers are occasionally used by policymakers with the goal of temporarily increasing consumer spending. These policies will be ineffective if the cash is used to save or pay off debts instead of purchasing goods and services. Since there isn't much data about how individual households respond to these policies, macroeconomists will often use models to predict spending patterns. The FHFA working paper develops a model to specifically study how people with mortgages respond to a small cash infusion. Table 1 summarizes the relationship in the model between debt and the marginal propensity to consume, or MPC, which measures what percent of the check that households spend right after they get it. A very strong relationship emerges between mortgage debt and propensity to spend a transfer. The first two columns, bolded in red, show that homeowners with debt are predicted to spend 6 times more than homeowners without debt. Higher levels of leverage are associated with higher spending responses, which is shown in the last 4 columns. Table 2 summarizes average MPCs within different percentiles of the income distribution in the model with mortgages, as well as those from a standard model of consumer spending without mortgages. While propensity to spend generally increases with debt, it's poorly correlated with income. This is because homeowners with mortgages in the top half of the income distribution spend a relatively large fraction of the check. The 3 ranges of income with the largest levels of MPC are bolded and colored in red for each model. The standard model without mortgages predicts that households with the highest spending are all in the bottom half of the income distribution, while the model from the working paper predicts that most of the highly responsive households are in the top half of the income distribution. This leads to very different policy implications. Figure 1 shows the predictions of each model for restricting transfers based on income. The solid blue line plots the spending as the transfer is progressively given to a larger fraction of households. The red dashed line plots the standard model without mortgages, and the black dotted line represents transfers limited to a random fraction of the population. The figure demonstrates how not including mortgages in models of consumer spending can lead to inaccurate policy implications. For example, the standard model predicts giving a $500 transfer to only households in the bottom 40% of income would increase spending per transfer by about 15% relative to a randomly distributed transfer. Meanwhile, the model with mortgages predicts a 15% decrease in spending per transfer. Homeowners with mortgages are probably very responsive to macroeconomic policy, and this is overlooked in many popular macroeconomic models. The model in the recently released FHFA working paper shows that correcting for this omission can help produce more reasonable policy analysis. I hope this overview has been interesting for you and that it will convince you to read the working paper, Mortgage Debt and the Response to Fiscal Transfers. For FHFA, I'm Ross Batzer. Thank you for watching.